You ever hear a story so insane it sounds fake?
Like, imagine being Hollywood's golden boy, then becoming the industry's biggest liability, getting arrested, blacklisted, laughed at, and basically becoming the punchline of your own life.
And then somehow coming back so hard that you literally become the face of the biggest movie franchise in history. That's Robert Downey Jr. And here's the crazy part. Iron Man didn't save RDJ. RDJ saved Iron Man.
Because Marvel didn't hire a superhero.
They hired a man who had already lived the superhero origin story. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how Robert Downey Jr. went from losing everything to becoming Iron Man, and why his comeback is one of the greatest reinventions ever. But stay with me, because the moment that truly changed his life wasn't fame. It was something way darker. Before he was Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was that guy, the kid with the spark, the actor who didn't just read lines. He made every scene feel alive, like he was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. He got his start early. Acting was in his DNA. His dad, Robert Downey Sr., was a filmmaker, and young Robert grew up in a chaotic, artsy world where creativity wasn't encouraged, it was expected. By the 1980s, Downey was exploding. He starred in films like Less Than Zero and became part of the Brat Pack era. But even then, you could tell he wasn't just another rising star. He had range, charm, and this unpredictable edge, like he might either win an Oscar or disappear completely. And here's what's wild. He almost did both. In 1992, he played Charlie Chaplin in Chaplain and earned an Academy Award nomination. That's how gifted he was. Even while his personal life was unraveling, his talent was undeniable. But fame doesn't just test you, it tempts you. And for Downey, temptation became addiction. Addiction doesn't show up like a villain kicking down your door. It shows up like a shortcut, a stress reliever, a quiet whisper that says, "You deserve this." By the mid-1990s, the whisper had turned into a storm. He was arrested in 1996 for possession of heroin, cocaine, and a firearm. And that wasn't the end, it was the beginning. There were more arrests, probation violations, relapses. At one point, he wandered into a neighbor's house while intoxicated and passed out in their bed. That's not quirky celebrity chaos. That's a man who has completely lost control. Eventually, the courts stopped giving chances. In 1999, Downey was sentenced to prison. Think about that. An Oscar-nominated actor in prison. That's not a career dip, that's collapse. And the worst part? The world wasn't rooting for him anymore. Studios didn't see a struggling genius, they saw a liability. Hollywood has one brutal rule. You are only valuable as long as you are reliable. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If you can't show up, you're a risk, and RDJ became radioactive. Studios wouldn't hire him. Insurance companies wouldn't cover him. Casting directors avoided him. He managed to land a role on Ally McBeal and even won a Golden Globe. But after another relapse, he was fired. At that point, most people would accept the label. This is who I am. But Downey didn't. Because eventually, the pain of staying the same became worse than the pain of change. In 2003, he got sober, fully committed, no half measures. Recovery wasn't just rehab. It was restructuring his entire life. Discipline, routine, support systems. He rebuilt himself like someone reconstructing a burned house, brick by brick. A major turning point was meeting Susan Levan on the set of Gothica. She became stability, accountability, a reason to stay clean. But sobriety didn't instantly restore his career. Hollywood still didn't trust him. Then came the gamble that changed everything. In the mid-2000s, Marvel Studios wasn't the empire it is today. It was a risky upstart trying to build something big. They were developing Iron Man and needed someone to play Tony Stark, brilliant, arrogant, funny, damaged. Someone suggested Robert Downey Jr. On paper, it made no sense. He was uninsurable, a reputational risk. Hiring him was like rebuilding a skyscraper on cracked concrete. But director Jon Favreau saw something different. He didn't see a liability, he saw Tony Stark. Because Tony Stark is a man who appears to have everything, but is internally collapsing. Sound familiar? Marvel hesitated. If Downey relapsed during filming, the movie, and possibly the studio, could implode. But Favreau pushed. Eventually, Marvel took the leap. They didn't just cast him, they bet on him. When Iron Man was released in 2008, it didn't just succeed, it exploded. And it didn't feel like a generic superhero film. It felt personal. Downey didn't play Tony Stark, he fused with him. The sarcasm, the charm, the reckless self-destruction under the jokes. It felt real because it was rooted in truth. Audiences could sense it. This wasn't just acting, it was redemption on screen. And suddenly, the man Hollywood didn't trust became the face of a cinematic universe. But his comeback wasn't luck, it was consistency. No scandals, no chaos, just work. He showed up, delivered, repeatedly. Trust isn't rebuilt with apologies, it's rebuilt with proof. And Downey provided proof for years. Over time, his narrative shifted. He wasn't the troubled actor. He was the anchor of the MCU, the engine, the spark. And when he stood in Avengers Endgame and said, "I am Iron Man," it hit differently. Because it didn't feel like Tony Stark speaking. It felt like Robert Downey Jr. declaring that he survived himself. That's why his story resonates so deeply. Not because he was perfect, but because he was broken and rebuilt. He lost his reputation, his freedom, his credibility, almost his future. And then he rewrote the ending. So if you take one thing from Robert Downey Jr.'s journey, let it be this: your worst chapter does not get to decide your final form, but your discipline does. If you found value in this breakdown, you're going to love the next transformation story we're diving into. Because success isn't about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. Hit like if this inspired you, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and tell me in the comments, what's your favorite RDJ moment of all time?